Hello, and once again, we are live. If you're listening to us on our podcast, welcome, or you might be watching us on the YouTube channel, welcome. And today I have a lovely guest. Joshua, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor and a pleasure.
Well, I am super excited because I want to know. I mean, your bio, people will have read the bio and
Okay.
they want to know, how did you end up choosing Healers Academy? And
Yeah.
then when you got there, what was it really like?
Yeah. This is a serious question, right? There's a lot to unpack here, and I'll start by just a brief short story in the sense that I have been fascinated by esoteric practices and magic since I was a child. Had a couple of supernatural experiences that gave me an opportunity to kind of just find curiosity and interest in meditation and magic and self-discovery at a very, very early age. So I began meditating at 8 and kind of continued to pursue that practice through most of my life until I kind of lost my way a little bit. And then found the mystery school through a process of healing, right? I kind of was exploring and coming back to that center. And as I found the mystery school, it just felt so natural. It felt like remembering more than anything else, you know? And in that path, as the path opened up, Healers Academy was the next logical progression in kind of what was the calling of my heart, per se. And so that's how I ended up there, through the need to heal and discover more about myself and to grow.
My goodness. And so, you've lived in the world. I mean, you've had a regular job, you've got a family, you do all the things that regular people do. So when you went into Healers Academy, what did you think? Well, can you give us a bit of background? What was the energy like, the teachers like? What was the whole experience like?
Yeah, yeah. No, it was amazing. I'll say I grew up kind of, watching He-Man and Thundercats, and I grew up, watching The Never-Ending Story, and I had like all of these incredible experiences with the divine and magic and the possibility and imagination. And going into Healers Academy felt like a tangible continuation of that fascinating fantasy story of magic to me. The opportunity to learn a modality of healing that could help people overcome some of the challenges and burdens that they face and perhaps impose on themselves through this sacred modality, right? That's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And I thought, wow, this is really, really cool. And because of my background in meditation and my sensitivity to different kind of sensory perceptions, there was a really tangible aspect to the modality of the life activation. And it may sound a little far-fetched or deeply esoteric, but I could actually feel and see the auric and etheric energies that were surrounding the clients that I was working on during the training, and subsequently, as I've performed life activations afterwards. And so it was kind of this beautiful validation of these deeper and more profound aspects of what we are that most people don't have access to, because they haven't either, worked to become sensitive to them, or they just never found the interest in the pursuit. And so Healers Academy was magic. I think, the other thing that I'll say is, for those of you watching, if you can imagine sitting, in a room where 30, 40, 50 people have anchored energy through meditation, through intention, through, ritual practice, and anchored an energy in a space where then 100 people then join together to follow through a practice of a sacred lineage, right? That's been around for a long time. You can begin to kind of imagine what the frequency and the energy of that place feels like and what it holds. And I had it was an incredible experience, and I had some really, really profound magical things happen during those 5 days.
And Would you say, I mean, obviously your background in meditation and such like, so, if for those people out there that are more seasoned meditators, and sometimes we think, oh, well, I've done this practice and, what I'm hearing is that it took it to a whole new level.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this question because I have a wonderful analogy for it. And, if you think about the things that are established in the world, let's say construction, for instance, and all of the science and work that has gone into the process of construction, right? That's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. We continue to advance and develop our capabilities and our skills and the resources and the materials that we use to further and improve, right, what construction's all about. And I think that has a lot to do with the amount of time and research and work and effort that's gone into that area of expertise for humanity. Well, that same thing applies to other areas of what it means to be human and to live in the world. And so the longer that a species, right, commits to this idea of progressing a particular practice, the more refined and more powerful and more strengthened it becomes. And this holds true for the lineage as well. So you can liken it to the difference between someone who's been working with a new technique of meditation for the last 10 years, right, versus someone who's been practicing in a Tibetan Buddhist monk, right, practice for the last 1,000. And there's certainly a difference in the energy that it holds and the refinement of that energy, as well as the access to it, right? And so that's how I would explain that, is that, yeah, it's definitely something completely different than, what one would expect as far as the intensity of the frequencies that exist in that space. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful.
I think I can definitely attest to that as well. Also, just what you'd like to finish up on, did you notice any, healing or shifts in yourself throughout Healers Academy? Was there anything that, you kind of noticed internally?
So this story is going to sound it may sound a little unusual to people, but I'll begin by saying that, typically humans only have the capacity to view a small percentage of the visible light spectrum. And with training or perhaps spontaneous experience, there are instances where people kind of expand their sensory capacity to experience a greater amount of that light spectrum, right? And this is science, right? This isn't kind of the esoteric idea. This is science. And in Healers Academy, and for a long time since I was a child, I've had these kind of these what some might call supernatural, but they're just really an innate aspect of what it is that we are, but a developed sensory perception around sight and a kinesthetic feeling. And during the wand ceremony, I had a really beautiful experience where I was approached by, the only thing that I could describe it as an angel. I was approached by an angel, and I had a 40-minute dialogue that covered the entire course of my life, and all leading up to the reason why I was actually in that Healers Academy class and the purpose of my life, and just a really beautiful, divine, kind of sacred, holy experience and reverence of the higher power, the divinity that exists within me. And that experience will stay with me forever because, it was just kind of an affirmation of, everything that led up to that moment, all the lessons and the trials and the tribulations and the growth, right? That, drives you to a place where you start to do that inner work and that inner search. So, I'll say that. And then I'll say it just blew me away. As you're actually moving through the protocol and you have kind of a visual interaction with with an etheric field or an auric field of an individual, and it becomes tangible, not only just from the sense that you can feel it, but it becomes visible. And so yeah, it was incredible, and just it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that, because I know that's deeply personal, and so I do appreciate you know, you sharing that with all of us. And I know that's going to inspire, you know, others out there who have also, you know, are very sensitive and are wondering how to, you know, hone their skills, how to expand, how to, you know, how to move into this, you know, bigger role. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
And thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you all again very soon.